All right, guys, welcome back to What's the Deal? DJ, I have a crazy topic. Are you ready?
Yep.
What's the deal with Jared Floyd, and why is this all Friday Ellis's fault?
Yeah. If you haven't gotten your shirt, go buy one. He sold a ton of shirts.
Really?
A ton. He said we went and fed some people Sunday, cooked a bunch of jambalaya, and just went post up.
I was wondering what you were doing, and then I saw everything come together, and I was like, okay, that makes more
Yeah,
sense.
dude, I love cooking. Like especially in that kind of atmosphere, and it with my buddies that we all did that with. Like it was the night before. It took me about 2 hours to cut up just the meat, and then the next morning, my buddy Brett and his wife John Ann, and our other buddy Bob. We all cut up all the vegetables, and we did that in like 10 minutes, which was kind of disheartening. I was like, I know I did the hard part first. But then it was about a solid 4 hours. Got to his house around 8 o'clock, did everything, like set everything up, and got all that put together. I had some people like, hey, I'm looking for a jambalaya pot that I can borrow. And some people were like, why do you need a jambalaya pot? It's because when you're cooking for that many people, it's a lot easier to cook in a very big, and it's a jambalaya pot. It's a cast iron pot.
It's a cauldron.
Yeah, and that's what everybody said. Well, you can just use this. I was like, yeah, that's the same thing, just on a much bigger scale. And it's what we're used to using back home. And my buddy Brett had one, but so we just needed one the same size to cook what we need to cook. And
Right.
Did all that in his garage. I say this all the time. Top 10 inventions all time. I don't care what anybody says. Is those propane like heaters you could just put on the propane tank.
And then it has like the two bulbs, and those things push out some heat too.
And especially when you're cold, like it was phenomenal. But we did that in the garage, and then went and drove around and took some elderly people some dinner, and just kind of just an opportunity to go love on people. So
yeah, and
did that and did it.
That was a big key component of last week. When I was talking to the team in our accountability calls, our slogan for the week was care over commerce. In fact, I told people, I was like, hey guys, we're not lead generating for houses and trying to sell things this week. We are going to call and love on our people and see who needs help. So it was really a blessing. We had quite a few people on the team that were like DJ, going out there and serving, and DJ went and did other things. We had people who look, Derek Forney, I think that dude had a chainsaw in his hand more than he had a cell phone in his hand last week. Chris Rux was out helping people and doing the Lord's work. There were just a lot of people on the team that I was just very, very thankful for, that they didn't say no to a request.
Right.
And I felt guilty. I actually had to say no. Chris Rux called me in a panic, and he's like, Harrison, there's elderly people, and we need to go get them out. And he's like, you're coming with me, right? And I'm like, normally I say yes to these kind of things, but if it's truly an emergency, I will stop. I had plans one time that whole week, and he called me 30 minutes before I was supposed to be somewhere. And I will tell you what that was too. It was very selfish. And I was like, I'll tell you what, when you get there, if it's truly an emergency, I'll come. He never calls me back. So I call him back later that night. And I was like, hey man, I said, never heard back from you. So I just assumed everything was okay. And he was like, dude, there was nobody even there.
Yeah. Look, it happens. It's when you lose power, when you lose, it's the weather's cold, you have people worried about people, and so they'll over exaggerate on some of the things. A lot of times, the beauty of our community is that people step up for people here. I agree with that. There's so much stupidity that you see on kind of national media and stuff like that, but when things like this happen, and I don't want to say the privilege, but I've had the opportunity to see firsthand how people in our community, and it doesn't matter if you're black or white or Republican or Democrat, north side, south side, none of that matters.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, do you need some help? I mean, I remember back in the tornado, we were on South 3rd Street, and it looked like King Kong came through there. There were big trees all across the road. Energy was working a block over. And we got a call like the one Rux got, where it was a lady that was stuck in her house that could not get out. And so we went in there, and they literally could not get out. I mean, there were pine trees across every road. But somebody had gotten in there, I think, the day before and gotten her out, but her dog was still in the house. And so there was a tree literally in our house. So we just kicked the door in, like, hey, to make sure this lady's okay.
Yeah.
And we took care of the dog, but she had gotten out. And then we're like, all right, cool. And it was, I remember it, man. It was me, the mayor, Scotty Robinson, Doug, councilman District 1, and it was one other person. I can't remember who that was. We're like, all right, well, energy's got to get here eventually, so let's just start cutting trees. And as those 5 people turned into, and I'm not exaggerating, it says over 100 people showed up because people just calling. Like, we post something on social media, hey, we're here. If you can come help, come help. And which then it turned up to, some good old boys from Rayville who've got all kind of equipment. They're like, hey, I got a skid steer. I got this. And he wasn't the mayor then. The mayor was like, bring it. We need it. And, man, that skid steer, so we just cut everything up in the road, and that skid steer just picked everything up.
Off.
And it was, I'll never forget the face of the guy from Energy. Because when they were driving around, I mean, they're assessing all of this stuff, and they're looking at it, and they're like, man, this is going to be a lot of work. That was at probably 8 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we had the entire road, and it was about 6 blocks of dirt completely cleared. And the guy pulls up. He goes, "Who did this?" And we're like, "Well, we did." He's like, "Who the hell are y'all that y'all got all of this cleared?" It's like, social media, social media. When you want to help, people want to show up, and it was, man. Look, you had Samaritan's Purse showed up. You had some Baptist men's group showed up in all their same color shirts and all, like, hey, look, we're here. Y'all go on that end of the road, work your way to the middle. Y'all go on this end, work, and we'll all just kind of work our way through.
Yeah.
And so kind of just knocked it all out. And I, I didn't get to, like, I don't work for the mayor's office anymore, right? So I didn't get to see a lot of that stuff with him firsthand. But I can assure you, people were doing the same thing. I mean, the amount of trees that have fallen, the amount of, we talk about energy doing this and butchering trees and things. They do that stuff for a reason. Like, they clear that for a reason. And so when things like this happen, it's not as big a task because.
But don't you touch my crepe myrtles.
Right. Live oaks. Like, I mean, it's all. But it's. When you get into like a storm like this, and the crazy part for us is that it's happened twice in 5 years now. So we are, I think, as human beings, we're creatures of this is what our norm is. Well, I'm 41 years old, and I've seen 2 ice storms in my entire life, and they've happened in the last 5 years. Yeah. Right. And so, and people getting out, we need to get snow plows. We need this. We need. For what?
You can't spend that much money for
it's
a what if. Yeah.
It's only $300,000. Yeah, the equipment alone for one of those is about $300,000.
And you got maintenance and upkeep.
And if you don't use it, then it goes bad very quick. And it's just, so there's a lot of things that come into play with a lot of that stuff. And sometimes the only thing your local government, energy, can do is just sit there. Okay, the storm's done. Let's go fix it.
Yep.
Right. Like, sometimes that's all you can do.
Yeah. That was probably one of the more frustrating things for me is when people were bashing energy online. It was, guys, they can't go out there and work while trees are falling on top of their heads.
No,
they're going to die trying to get you hot.
So there was a lineman from around this area that was out there, and that technically is what happened to him. He was working on a line, tree fell on his truck. He got knocked out of his truck, hit a hot wire, got electrocuted. He's been in the hospital ever since. He's good, but
I believe he's doing well now. Yeah,
he's good, but it's one of those. Like, it was a very serious situation. Bunch of people around, thankfully, and they were able to take care of him very quickly. Also saw the little kid that had touched the hot wire. He's in stable condition and doing okay. Saw some pictures. Looks like he's doing all right. So thankfully, nobody in that instance is tragically gone or anything like that. But I mean, when you're dealing with that much electricity, it's
it's wet, it's cold. There's a lot of people are tired. There's a lot of mistakes made, and man, the mistake in that instance can cost a life. So DJ, what did you do for the snowstorm?
I got to call this beautiful building home with me and my 3 children, and Harrison and Amanda and another family and a couple other families that kind of came and went.
That family had 5 children.
It was, we had a good time. I would say, I was telling somebody earlier, I was like, yeah, Harrison and I woke up and cooked breakfast pretty much every morning, and it's not a small breakfast. The pan for eggs was this big. It was like an 18 pack of eggs.
We were cooking 36 eggs at a time, and 2 pounds of bacon at a time.
Yeah,
and then
biscuits
two big packages of biscuits. Guys, if y'all are in the market to switch up biscuit brands,
I'm sold on it. I was about to say
You're
this.
welcome.
Yeah, I was about to say this.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's go to the frozen section. It's a red and white bag.
Mary B's.
Yep. Best frozen biscuits I've ever had. They taste homemade. They're incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Bought some yesterday. They're in the freezer.
I love it.
You know, I always got the canned biscuits. These are never again. They're
Yeah, he was bragging to me about those canned biscuits, and
so
I didn't
good.
say anything because I was like, well, you know, he may have a different brand that he likes, and that's fine. And then he took that first bite, and he goes, I think I just switched biscuits.
Yep.
Yeah. So we lived here so I lived here for, I think I got to move back out on day 6. So
You got here before everybody. You got here on Saturday, right?
yes.
We got here on Sunday. We didn't lose power till Sunday morning at about 7:30. On in the Garden District where I was at, but yeah, we were here for a week. I was so incredibly happy to be home. It took my back 2 days to to realize what a bed feels like, but yeah, we're back good. We were sleeping on floors, massage chairs. My kids loved it. I will say this. The craziness to all of it is that because we had all those families, there's 3 families that all had like a 6-year-old little girl. So all the little girls were always running, like we were working because the kids were entertaining themselves.
DJ and I came up with like marketing plans for the building. Like we got
we got
a few rooms leased out.
2 rooms leased out from that. If you're looking for a shared office space, we have plenty here.
And I was even told it was underpriced the other day, which we intentionally actually did cut market just to get people in, and then of course we can grow it from there. But one of the guys came in the other day and he was like,
This is
cheap.
This is cheap.
My eyes got
and
wide.
it really is. I mean, and in the grand scheme of it, like if you were to go get an office, even maybe, I mean, you're going to get something a little bit bigger, but I mean, it's one of our listings we have. That's $1,500 a month. Not in this building, out in the market. $1,500 a month, and it comes with 3 offices. But then you have electric bill, water bill, trash, Wi-Fi.
You're going to be over 2,000 by the end of it. Yeah.
And the only thing we're asking you to do is have insurance on your stuff inside the office, and it's a month-to-month or a year lease.
A year lease gets you a discount. Pretty hefty. It's actually like $100 a month off if you sign a 1-year lease.
And then you'll have access to this podcast room and all of that stuff when we get that, which we're almost done. It's all under construction, but you'll get access to some of this, which we talk about all the time. Like people have been saying for a while, podcasts are the ways for you to get your information out. But with AI and how it's pulling information, podcasts and blog, like it's crazy. All the stuff that was like early stage internet type things are now starting to come back. And if you do those, then it pushes your your AEO, your AI optimization. It pushes you up the line. So this to me is a good way to not only talk about business and products and things that you're doing, but like we do. I mean, it's just a way to kind of build your personality, your relationship, how people are. I mean, we don't really talk about real estate here a whole lot.
No, not really. I mean, maybe our experiences as it relates, but this isn't a real estate podcast. The thing that I've gotten out of it the most, that I've spoken about numerous times, is my personal brand and maybe people getting to know me a little bit outside of what people say about me. Now you get to actually experience some of the things that like how I feel about things and some of my viewpoints, and you find out that I'm not so different than you.
No, that was the secret sauce I learned working for the city, is that everybody's just really trying to get by, and they're really trying to get things. And there are people doing well, and there are people struggling. But the difference between somebody doing really well and somebody struggling is such a very small and fine line.
And that brings us to our point of what is the deal with just showing up.
That's right.
Man, if there's one thing that this ice storm taught me is
Ice Storm Fern.
They need to get those names out of things, because that's just insurance that's trying not to pay. But if there's one thing that this ice storm taught me, it's who's going to show up and who's not. And it was very eye-opening for me, and in some ways depressing, but also encouraging, because I know when times get hard, I know who's going to go hide, and I know who's going to go show up and go, hey, like, I'm a part of this community. I want to help. I want to be there. Do you have any revelations about what's the deal with showing up?
No, I had when I was in high school, I had signed to play baseball here at ULM, and I had my hitting coach. was a 4-year starter at third base for Nicholls State when he was in college. And I asked him, I was like, man, what if you can give me one piece of advice about college, what would that advice be? And he told me, he said, if I can give you one piece of advice, just show up. 8 o'clock class, you're going to be the one that's going to hold yourself accountable to that. Go to class. The difference between you having a borderline B, A, and getting an A is you showing up for class. The difference between you failing a class and getting a D in that class is you actually being in the class. And so I think I got this quote on my wall, 50% of people you will outwork just by showing up and being in the room.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
And that's the big, I think, especially in the world of real estate, there's a lot of people that want to make this an opportunity where you can, what was your quote that you put the other day? Like, if you want this to be a side hustle and you just want it to be some kind of sideline income, this isn't the business. Mm-hmm. It's not like, get into the rentals. Like, go do that stuff. But if you're trying to sell to make this, if you're not doing it to make it a living, it's eventually going to cost you more, both financially and time-wise on doing this, because there's a huge learning curve that changes all the time with the paperwork and all the things behind the scenes. Now, thankfully for us, we have staff that take care of a lot of that for us on the sales side, but outside of that, if you're not paying attention, you're not in the room, you're not constantly learning, constantly going through what you need to do, it's a very easy career to fall behind in very, very quickly. Mm-hmm. And you see some people that are very, very successful that go step away and do something else, and then the claw back to getting back where they were is a lot more difficult.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be somebody who can punch holes in your statement of this isn't, sure. There are some people like there are anomalies out there. They've got really big spheres. They know people. They're married to somebody affluent, whatever. There are small cases where what we're saying is not 100% true all the time. And for the large majority, 99.9% of the time, that is true. This is kind of an all-in or nothing world. And you find that people who don't show up, they already have so much going against them that mm-hmm. it's likely unrecoverable. Mm-hmm.
Look, I'd say where I come from and stepping into this, I've gotten really lucky here just in the first couple of months of doing it, but a lot of it's been relationships.
It's all been relationships. Yeah. That was you are the epitome of, so I'm reading a book right now called Never Eat Alone. You ever read it?
I've heard about it.
Every time I read the book, I just think about you the entire time. He talks about the cost of access inside relationships and not just being freely willing to give a portion of your relationship of somebody like you going, hey, I know Friday and I'm absolutely willing to get you in the room. It's kind of like what you did with me with Justin Waller. Mm-hmm. I had no idea that DJ was friends with Justin Waller. I knew who he was just because of like Facebook Reels and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then DJ's like, hey, I'm going to get you in the same room with Justin Waller. He wants to meet you. I want you to meet him. And I'm going to get you guys there. And I was like, oh, that was really cool. I didn't have to pay for that. Nothing. It cost me a dinner at Parrish. In fact, Justin tried to pay for our dinner. Mm-hmm. I just wouldn't let him. Mm-hmm. By the way, he's a good tipper. Yep. He's a very good tipper. I appreciate that.
He's a good dude, man. There's personas you have in social media.
He's playing his part.
Yep. Yeah. And he'll tell you he is. But in the core of it, like he's a genuinely good dude. And he said, he's like, there's only 2 things you'll ever see me wear. One is going to be this really nice suit because I love these. This is my superhero costume.
I have learned that he loves that suit particularly. Because every video I see, I'm like, do you change clothes or are you like me? And you're like, hey, look, I like that pair of jeans fits me well. Give me 5 of them.
Yep.
Maybe that's it.
When you I will say that in the suit world, when you find one that like
the release he just did with the Tate brothers, he is wearing that same exact suit. Yeah.
Look, and it's one of those, it's like you find something like jeans. You find jeans that fit, you go find a bunch of different ones like it. Same.
I found, no, it's not. Oh, it is this shirt. Addison got me to buy this shirt, and I was like, I don't know. I bought it. I liked it. I got online, and I found every color in my size, and I ordered everything that was available.
I got some sweats from Academy for Christmas, and yes, as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to buy every color they have. I absolutely love them.
They're starting to make joggers for big boys, and I appreciate that.
Well, they've always made joggers for big boys. They're just actually starting to look good. They're not just a plain,
Well, yeah, but I used to go with like the straight leg sweatpants, and I wouldn't wear anything else. I'm like, dude, joggers are for skinny people, not these legs.
Yeah, no, these thunder thighs.
Yeah, and then they've made them differently now, and I'm like, yeah. Now I can't wear every brand, and I can't wear every fit. There's like one or two brands with one or two fits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll go back to the ice storm and showing up. Like I said, thankfully that all the kids were here, but Harrison and I sat in his office a good bit going through, who do we need to be reaching out to? How can we fill out this space as a kind of a shared office space? And we put out just a couple. Like I just put out some, hey, who's looking for office space? Nothing crazy to it. And what's come from that is I've had now 4 showings.
How'd the one go this morning?
It went all right. I think it's going to be too much traffic. So also, if you're looking to come here, it's really an office space. It's not, if you're trying to do some type of retail business where there's a lot of customers coming in, it's probably not going to be a good fit. And I think that's what this morning was.
No, I can't do that.
Now I'm going to call her when we are done and say, hey, look, I don't think it's going to be a good fit for this, but we do have this building right over here if you want to go look at that, and it's not a bad price.
Yeah, and we're working on some other stuff right now for some other people.
Yep. But so we have an attorney coming in. We have another communications guy coming in. Somebody to help us with podcasting, hopefully coming in, and another group's kind of consulting, life coaching type thing that I'm trying to line out now.
Which that would actually be perfect.
Yeah,
I would love that.
No, it's a lot of it. So here's another thing, and I saw this firsthand in an office in a shared space, office space, in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. This was years ago. I went through the Delta Leadership Institute thing. And what they were a community, and just listen to these numbers. They were a community of 48,000 people. They were a river town. Their sister city was about 15 minutes up the road. There's about 25,000 people. You had probably some of your upper income money was more in that sister town. There was a little bit of poverty. It was about 60% African American in Cape Girardeau. There was Drury Hotel was actually started there, so there's a big hotel chain there. It was a lot of it was a small college, regional college town. Southeast Missouri State is there. So it had a lot of the very similar dynamics.
Sounds
to
a little
to
like
us.
Monroe West Monroe, yeah.
They had a very big telecom company, a big TV station company that was headquartered there. They were struggling to retain and recruit workforce there because in Missouri, it's like if you wanted to be there, or they would work there for a couple years, then they would get recruited out to St. Louis, to the bigger city, which we dealt with, and CenturyLink, Lumen, and all that stuff. It was very similar to this. And so your upstart companies, your people like, what was it? Uber wouldn't go to the market because the market wasn't big enough for them. And so they're like, heck, we'll just start a kind of an Uber Eats / Uber type business here. And so they wrote all the code for all of that, and they started it. And in that building, it started with two offices, which turned into 8, which turned into 170 offices, where everybody in there was doing it was all something code based or telecommunication, like technology based businesses, all in there. And once a month they would have a kind of a powwow in the shared space where all the businesses in the building would get together and just kind of kick ideas off you. Just a networking deal. Like, hey, look, you're in the building. Come meet your neighbors and stuff. We see each other in the hall, but come introduce yourselves. Yeah. Let's talk about
how
things.
Much business could that kind of culture generate for each other? And if you have a good group of people who all believe in very similar things, right? Like serving people and taking care of people and doing great inside your profession, how much business do you think that some of these people could actually pass on to the others?
So what it turned into, every one of their walls were glass walls, and all these guys were writing code on their code on the glass. And so you'd have people walk down the hall and they're looking at it in reverse, and they're like, they just pop their head in, and it just, because of the monthly meetings, it turned into this, hey, do you ever think about doing this and this? And like, so there was companies helping other companies with no needed returns or anything like that. just giving their, hey, if you try to do this, and they're like, you just fixed our problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, and so it caused this correlation of these businesses. And then when you have that kind of stuff going on, then those people are like, hey, you should really think about an office space up here, because
it makes it very attractive. And one of the things that didn't make it on our flyer, not our flyer, our signs that we're working on printing right now, is a culture of being collaborative, or a community of collaboration is what I actually put on there. And I really do mean that. Like, man, even if I didn't own a portion of the HVAC company, just by Hunter being in this building means that he can go, hey, Harrison, you got 10 minutes? And I'd be happy to walk through him with his P&L, maybe talk to him about his expenses or coach him through something. I know he would do the same for me. There's a lady who works at an accounting firm. Nicest. Have you talked to her?
I just saw her today for the first time.
Oh, she's super nice, by the way. The first few times, it was like, we don't know each other, and they're kind of tiptoeing around each other. And I finally was like, hey, I want to introduce myself, you know, that never get alone mentality where like, hey, my relationships are open, not that open. Amanda comes out and does the people's elbow on the back of my head. Something happened.
Yeah, that's not us. That's a different, that's not the camera. He said that's just another view of that. So
I know, but this just turned off.
Well, Jordan.
I think it's a good time to pause anyway, because I got. Where's my comfort monitor?
Don't get one no more.
This is bullshit.
That's selfish.
Sorry, it's dead.
Why didn't you plug it in?
The tablet takes forever to charge.
Get you a better charger.
Jesus. All right. So we were talking about the collaboration in the building being, it's almost like a hidden bonus. Yeah. I mean, it's something that I know that I enjoy.
Yeah, I said that one in Missouri where it was everybody working together. I think that's some of the intent here too. Like, if you are interested in this, it's the companies that are in here. I just had a conversation with a guy who's sells insurance, and he's gone in another location. But he was like, yeah, I'd be interested in that. I was like, well, I will tell you, we do already have insurance producers here. And he's like, well, I'd like to collaborate with you guys. I said, well, we do that as well. And, just kind of diving into that. And it's like, it's not necessarily trying to step on anybody's toes, but also like, hey, come in, and if you can utilize this, there's a couple different ways. In the Small Business Development Center, when I was there, you have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 type businesses. What we're looking for this is really stage 1, stage 2 type stuff, because some people, like the attorney coming in, a lot of his stuff is online, right? Like, and he's doing very well. He just he's got one employee, doesn't need a ton of space because technically his inventory is online.
Right.
And where he steps into that stage 3 business is where you start diving into other states, other markets, other practices. There are other types of that particular business that he's doing,
and you can really put a force multiplier on things when you go digital. And so you think about, like, we own a business in Northeast Louisiana where we just sell to Northeast Louisiana. There's a lot of people out there that don't live in Northeast Louisiana, and so now your market, it just becomes huge. It's not hard to sell stuff when you're selling to 1 billion people.
Right.
It's very much so harder to sell to people when you're selling to 1,000 people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, that's how TikTok, YouTube, that's how all this stuff works. The
Yeah.
more views you get, the more money they'll pay you. And it's because they recognize that the more you're getting their platform out, the more they get people using it. And the more ad dollars they can sell and all of that. And that's where
They get my ad dollars.
That's where all of this stuff comes in. And here, in the grand scheme of it, like for us, we deal with contracts and things like that all the time, leases, all that stuff. If I can go to an attorney and say, hey, that's right down the hall, hey, take a look at this, how would you fix this? And they fix it, and now we just collaborated on something with somebody that's in here, and it's the working together on that. They help us, we help them. It's just it's something that I've always wanted to see. I mean, when I bought that building across from City Hall, that was my hope there, because it was an old doctor's office.
Well, you were just letting people kind of park in there in hopes that you would just like have some collaboration that was helpful.
And we did. I mean, I had Jason Nelson was in there, very talented graphic artist here, and he I was like, look, I'm not going to charge you rent, but if I ever need anything, I'd ask you that you do that for me. I'm not going to ask you to build a full website. I'm just talking about social media type ads and stuff. And it was always, yeah, that's not a problem. And so he would do those. And then, Adam, what's that? What's the last name? Why am I drawing a blank? was in. He did drone videos, and like we had a lot of collaborative thought, not a lot of working together on different projects, but learning about different things and how the working world. And this is really before people were using drones on a regular basis for inspections and all kind of stuff like that. You start learning how the world works and some of this technology that's being used and how it's cutting jobs, but also making people more money at the same time. You know, there was one project that they were bidding out for a bigger construction company here that typically would take 6 to 8 months to do. They were going to be able to do the job in a week with no permits needed, because they weren't going to be on grounds, and they were going to be able to go in there and the majority of the work that was going to be done was going to be anything that needed to be fixed or replaced. Then they had specific work orders. Oh, like this place, we go here, we fix that.
Right.
This one, and you know, and a lot of it is, you know, that was one person that would take a week to do all that. The other one, they'd have 3 people per spot. They would only be able to do two parts of the job in you know, a day or two, because you got to go up and you got to go down. I mean, it was just very labor intensive on the front end, and they were able to go in, charge the company half of what they had always charged them, and make almost 3 times more than what they were making.
Because time and labor was cut down so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it's like you start learning these things about how people are making money and how things work and how you can get in there. And, you know, you look at things. I'm just, for instance, Marsala, they sell beer, right? Like you see that's the outside deal, but then there's a huge marketing company involved with that. And there's a lot of the print and things that they do in there, the beer boxes, like a lot of the stuff that's going on in some of these companies. And then there's a piece of all of that, you know, what was it? The Red Bull knockoff we were buying back in the day that Watts had brought into town. No, what? No,
the blue
blue can.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
the
about.
one that
It actually wasn't bad.
No, it actually tastes like Red Bull.
Yeah.
But then you have people bring those in, and these distributors are like, oh, where are y'all getting that from? And they go and buy that, and they start distributing it and stuff like that. And now they become competitors with, you know, non-alcoholic. And so they have the big piece that they're selling with Anheuser-Busch, but then they have the other portions that they bring in that are, you know, stuff that's for in Marsala as products that they're selling. So you see these companies, you think they do one thing, but there's so much more. And that's just one example, you know, just one random example that they're doing. And that's kind of the same place you come in here. Like you see this, and everybody knows this is Harrison Lilly Real Estate here. And everyone I've walked through, we always go through the side where it's all filled up, and then we go to the side where it's starting to fill up. And it's like, hey, this door upstairs is the real estate team. The upstairs is real estate. All the rest is kind of shared collaborative space. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, oh, okay, there are businesses in here. Nobody wants to be first. Nobody wants to be last. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, all right, there are people here. And then you get into the spaces. Oh, this is really good space. You know, I had one guy, he was like, man, I need windows. He's like, if it's a room that doesn't, he's like claustrophobic. And even the rooms.
We got windows for you, baby.
Yeah. we have rooms that are priced at pretty much the same price point. Some of them have bigger windows, some of them have smaller windows, but they're same size space. So it's really what you want. Mm-hmm. And it's all, like I said, it's all in that same hall. So it's that collaboration in there, and what I always envision for a shared office space to be. Once it all gets filled up, I'm going to be pushing for once a month, let's just have a little mixer where the real estate team can get down and meet the people that are in the building, and just like, you know, do some stuff like that.
Like even if we just, you know, just while we're brainstorming, like dude, just a cheap sandwich tray for lunch, and just go, hey, we're having a mixer downstairs. Nothing crazy. Just everybody go meet each other and see how you can help each other.
Well, we do our lunch and learns. We do ours, and then on the back end, like, hey, you know, lunch and learn downstairs.
It's just that never eat alone mentality where you're just going, hey, like my relationships are open to everybody. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's, you know, which brings us all the way back to, you know, the whole point of this, which was
you got to show up to be in relationships.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, it's so funny because the biggest strained relationships I have right now in business and in personal is just because people refuse to show up.
You know, when all of my shit went to shit, the one thing I learned, one of the biggest things I learned in that is if you answer the phone or you call the people in the difficult moments, the easy moments are a whole lot easier. And nobody wants to take anything from, like, in the business world. Nobody really wants to take anything from anybody in that world. They just want to be on the same page, right? Like if you have houses that may get foreclosed on, people like nobody wants to have that call. Nobody wants to have that conversation. Pick up the phone, like answer the phone and talk to the bank.
Banks actually don't want your house back.
They don't. They
Yep.
really, and they don't want to sell it. They don't want. They don't want to deal with any of it.
They want you to deal with it.
Yep.
They just want you to do it in an equitable agreement with them.
And if you are transparent and you are open with them and go through the steps that they're asking you to do, most of the time they're going to give you a little bit more time to figure it out. But if you just take the route of not answering the phone, not showing up in those moments, then they're like, all right, well, you're pushing our hand. We got to do this. We got to take it from you. We got to do all this. And like, I've been on both sides, the ones where you didn't answer the phone calls and the ones where you're like, yep, this is what's going on. And I can tell you the ones where I answered the phone, those relationships are still there.
Yeah.
That people will still vouch for me. And the ones where I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
And I'd be willing to bet I know how that one would go.
Yeah.
And so it's just and the crazy part, we live in a big town, but we don't live in a big community.
Yeah.
Right. So you live here long enough, the people you piss off, you're eventually going to be in front of them again.
It's true.
I tell people all the time. The one thing my dad told me when I left to come to college, he said, man, be mindful of the toes you step on today. They might be attached to the ass you have to kiss tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And that's never, like, in this community, it runs true all the time. There were moments in the city where people that were assholes to me, and I got an opportunity. I'm like, hey, you're not doing your job. Here you go. And then there were moments the same thing where I wasn't doing mine and somebody got to hold my feet to the fire.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, just show up and be there in the moment, even in the hard ones. Like the hard ones also, I think, show the character of a man or woman. Like if
you only show up for the fun stuff,
Yeah.
but you don't show up for the hard work, or you don't show up not when you need something, but when other people need something, it says something about you. And I personally, I don't want to hang out with people who want me to show up for them, who want me to be in the trenches for them, want me to spend money on them. But if the roles were reversed, they wouldn't do it.
Every single one of us has that one person on our phone that we look at it and it just says,
Yeah.
everybody. And that's in 99.9% of the time is because that conversation right there, right? Like, I needed something from them. They refuse to, but they always need something from me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. It's a thing, man. Showing up. I wish I had some profound statement to say it any clearer, other than if you want to give yourself a chance to succeed, show up. You'll learn the skill later. You don't have to be the best or the most talented person in the room. You don't have to be the most knowledgeable at the topic. But if you show up and you're hanging out with the right people, the odds are something good is going to rub off.
Yeah, I agree. And it's, a lot of times I think I've run into this with you a little bit. Sometimes you feel like you don't belong in the room, but the people that are in the room feel the same way too. They just fake it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get in there and you're like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah.
And you just want to see, like, I think that was one of the biggest conversations that I'll pull from working for the city was, people want a seat at the table. But I'll tell you, if the table stays the same, what you're left with is what the city was 20 years before this current administration. If the table is constantly changing, which it is now, new people coming in, new people collaborating, you'll see change and you'll see growth and you'll see things are happening differently. Now, those people come in and they get a piece of the pie, they're going to constantly want to sit at that table. So it's difficult at times to push people away. But if you're constantly changing and constantly doing things differently, things start working out better. But ultimately, so everybody wants a seat at the table. But what their perspective is once they get to the table is a lot of people go, well, let's just keep it like it was.
Yeah.
And that's what got us in this problem. It's once you get in my opinion, and I think this is what makes me Republican, or one of the things that makes me Republican. Once you get to the table, it's not the government's job to keep your business funded. It's your job. Hey, the government can help you. can get you there, can prop you up a little bit, but then it's your job to go do your thing. And you see this a lot with kind of small businesses and what's a small business and what's not. Technically, what's defined as a small business, there's a lot of companies out there that are not small businesses anymore. And you'll have those arguments internally where people are like, look, we're not a small business anymore. We probably shouldn't be doing this. We should be over here. And then other people on board are like, well, but we're getting paid to do it, so we should keep doing it because it's, and so
Right.
it's kind of it's what your own personal ethics are on what that is and what isn't. But you have, like I said, you get into that realm, that table building and how long you sit at the table will determine, how much things are growing in not only in your business, but in the community around you. And ultimately what we, was it rising tides lift all boats. And so if everybody can get a little bit, I think we can all kind of grow through it. And that's what we're seeing now. While we're seeing some growth because the tables have been mixed up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm thankful for that growth. I hope it continues. But all right. Well, DJ, do we have anything else to say about showing up today?
No, I think I'm about to have to go home and show up for the
Show
kiddos.
up for the kids, huh?
Yeah,
no doubt. All right, guys. Well, thank y'all for joining us on another episode of What's the Deal? And remember to show up for your people in the good times and in the bad.
That's right.
See ya.